looking at the Five of Cups, and this card talks about loss, grief and disappointment. It is a sad card, but it also talks about the importance of, whilst acknowledging the pain that we're in, it's important to have hope and know that there is room for recovery and healing. So this card shows a figure here with his back turned to the card, so he's looking away from the card. He's got his back turned, and he's wearing a black cloak. He's got his head bowed in sorrow as well. So the black cloak symbolises mourning and grief, and his posture and body language indicate a deep sense of sorrow, regret and emotional pain. The spilled cups here in front of the figure that have been knocked over represent loss and disappointment. They symbolise the emotional weight of what has been lost or the negative impact of past actions. But here behind him we have two upright cups, and they're behind the figure. So the two cups that remain standing are still full, obviously, because they haven't been knocked down. And these upright cups symbolise hope and the potential for recovery, and they represent what remains and the opportunities or positives that are still present despite the losses. In the background up here we have a river here, but in the background here we have a bridge going over the river, and this bridge leads to this castle here in the distance. So the river symbolises the flow of emotions and the passage of time, and the bridge represents a path to healing and moving forward, while the castle indicates safety, security and a future that can be reached. So this, the Five of Cups, this is quite a sad card if it comes up in a reading, because it does indicate grief. It indicates loss and disappointment. It can show a person in a really emotional, bad place at present. But within this card, it does show that there will be new beginnings. There is hope that you can heal, and that things can be okay again. It talks about how, as humans, we do go through emotional setbacks, and of course we obviously experience grief. It talks about the importance as well of processing our feelings and not bottling things up, and that it's important to grieve properly, and it's important to feel our emotions. It speaks about how regret is part of the human existence, but holding on to regret won't actually help us in moving forward. In the card, the figure is very focused on the cups that have spilled over. This is his losses. But this card is asking us, or urging us, to turn around and see the cups that are still standing. It's saying that we do need to acknowledge what has come and what has gone. That we do need to acknowledge what we may have lost, any disappointment or regret that we may be feeling. But at the same time, we also need to try and remain focused on what we still have, and what is still here for us, and that possibility of healing and the hope for our future. It can be a card that would speak about advising, seeking emotional support or help in some way, or guidance. Ultimately, this card is calling for us to find balance between acknowledging our loss, but also seeking a path forward to healing and growth and recovery, which lead on to new beginnings. So examples of how this card might come up in a reading are grief and loss. So you may be grieving the end of a relationship. It could be the loss of a loved one who has unfortunately passed away. It could be a missed opportunity, and just that feeling of grieving what once was and what you once had. It can come up to show disappointment or regret. So you might be dwelling on a past mistake or a missed opportunity. There could be feelings of regret around maybe a relationship that didn't work out, and the part that you played in that, or the role you played in that, that could have caused the end of that relationship. It could be regrets about decisions that you made that didn't end up serving you, that ultimately led to a disappointing outcome. It can be talking about the fact that we are focusing too much on the negative and therefore not seeing the potential of what now lies forward for us. It talks about the need for acceptance and moving on. So it talks about letting go of the past, and although the past is important and it happened, we can't stay in the past. We have to move on with our lives and we have to go forward. So it also then talks about hope and recovery. So hope and recovery are a massive part of this card. It can encourage you to seek support if necessary, but it really wants to highlight to you that the world isn't over, or your life isn't over, that life can go on for you, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope, and that there is healing that you can do, and there will be opportunities again in the future and plenty of new beginnings. It might be talking about also a need for letting go of old grudges, or even more than that, past traumas or hurts, the way people have hurt you. A need for forgiveness, not necessarily to serve the other person, but more to serve yourself, so that you can actually move on now, and not allow that energy to keep weighing you down. It can sometimes also come up to suggest that a person is actually learning from their mistakes. So although in this card he is focused on the cups on the floor, it depends how you read it, but you could see that as he's focused on the cups on the floor because he actually wants to learn from his mistakes in order to not allow that to happen again. So finally, the Five of Cups can come up to represent a period of transition and change for the person being read for, where old structures and or relationships may now be falling away, in order for room to come in for new relationships or new growth going forward. You may be thinking about dating again, and you might be going out and, you know, seeing who you could meet, and there's that potential for a new relationship to form in your life, but in order for that to happen, you understand now how any feelings around past relationships need to go now, need to be healed, and need to be put away to make room for a new relationship to come in.